Jack always had a special connection with his dog, Buddy. From the first day he adopted him, Buddy became more than just a pet. He was a true companion. Everyone in the neighborhood knew the inseparable duo, who shared moments of pure joy and everyday adventures. Their days began with long walks in the park, where Jack would throw the ball, and Buddy would run excitedly to fetch it, always returning with bright eyes and a wagging tail. Weekends were reserved for longer, special outings. Jack loved taking Buddy on hikes and to the beach, where the dog could run freely and explore every corner with his endless curiosity. These moments not only strengthened their bond, but also filled Jack's life with genuine happiness. Buddy's presence brought comfort and a simple joy that illuminated even the darkest days. However, everything changed when Jack noticed Buddy acting strangely. The dog, once full of energy, began showing signs of fatigue and loss of appetite. Jack was worried but tried not to think the worst. Maybe it's just a phase, he thought. But as days passed, Buddy didn't improve. On the contrary, his symptoms worsened, and he began having trouble breathing. Desperate to understand what was happening to his best friend, Jack decided to take Buddy to the vet. The trip to the hospital was silent, with Jack holding Buddy's paw and murmuring words of comfort. "It'll be okay, boy," he repeated, trying to hide the growing anxiety in his chest. The veterinary hospital was busy, but the team quickly noticed the severity of the situation and took Buddy in for immediate tests. The wait for the results was agonizing. Jack sat in the waiting room, surrounded by other pet owners who shared the same silent anxiety. Each minute felt like an eternity until the vet finally called Jack into a private room. With a serious expression, the vet explained that Buddy had a severe illness and that the chances of recovery were minimal. Jack felt his world collapse. Making the decision to leave Buddy at the hospital was the hardest thing Jack ever had to do. He knew it was the best for his friend, but the thought of saying goodbye was unbearable. With teary eyes, Jack knelt beside Buddy's bed and whispered, "You're strong, boy. We'll get through this together." Buddy, even weak, seemed to understand and licked Jack's hand, trying to convey one last gesture of love and trust. The atmosphere in the hospital was one of hope mixed with uncertainty. Jack couldn't stop thinking about the happy moments he had with Buddy and the possibility of losing him forever. Each visit to the hospital was a mix of pain and hope as he awaited any news about his faithful companion's recovery. Jack spent hours by Buddy's side, telling stories and reminiscing about their adventures, trying to keep the flame of hope alive in both their hearts. When Jack arrived at the veterinary hospital with Buddy, he was immediately taken to the emergency room. The vets began working quickly, running tests and monitoring Buddy's vital signs. Jack, with a heavy heart, watched closely, feeling powerless in the face of the situation. The lead vet, Dr. Harrison, approached and explained the severity of Buddy's condition, mentioning that the dog needed intensive care and that the next few days would be crucial. As hours passed, Buddy's condition worsened. The vets informed Jack that the illness was progressing rapidly and that the chances of recovery were dwindling. Jack watched in desperation as the vets did everything they could to stabilize Buddy. Each sound from the machines and each movement from the professionals heightened the tension in the room, leaving Jack with the feeling that he was about to lose his best friend. But before we continue, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you love animals and their fascinating stories. After several treatment attempts, Dr. Harrison called Jack for a difficult conversation. With a look of sorrow, he explained that the treatments were not having the desired effect and that it might be time to consider euthanasia to relieve Buddy's suffering. Jack was devastated. The idea of saying goodbye to Buddy was unbearable, but he knew he had to think about his beloved dog's well-being. Jack knelt beside Buddy's bed, holding his paw and whispering words of love and comfort. "You were the best friend anyone could have, Buddy. I'll never forget you," he said, tears streaming down his face. Buddy, even weak, tried to lick Jack's hand, as if wanting to comfort him one last time. The farewell was a moment of deep sorrow and true love, with Jack trying to say goodbye in the most dignified way possible. As Jack said his goodbyes, small hints began to emerge about what might happen next. Dr. Harrison mentioned a new experimental treatment that could be Buddy's last hope. He explained that the treatment had been tested on other dogs with similar conditions and had shown some positive results. Jack, desperate for a chance to save his friend, clung to this last hope, even knowing the odds were slim. The experimental treatment began, and the vets closely monitored Buddy while Jack waited anxiously for any sign of improvement. Every minute felt like an eternity, and the tension in the air was palpable. Jack spent his time by Buddy's side, talking about their memories together and trying to keep the faith. "You can do this, Buddy. I know you can," he repeated like a mantra, trying to convince himself that there was still hope. Despite all the difficulties, a small change began to occur. Buddy showed subtle signs of improvement, such as more stable breathing and a slight movement of his tail. Jack, attentive to every detail, felt a spark of hope ignite in his heart. The vets, also noticing this change, redoubled their efforts and adjusted the treatment, determined to do everything possible to save Buddy. The battle was far from won, but that small glimmer of hope was enough for Jack to keep believing. Jack, exhausted and with a heavy heart, said goodbye to Buddy once more, believing it could be the last time he saw his faithful companion. With a final kiss on Buddy's head, he left the hospital, struggling to hold back the tears. The idea of going home without his dog was unbearable, and he felt an enormous void as he walked slowly down the hallway, his mind filled with memories of the happy moments they shared. At home, Jack couldn't find solace. Every corner of the house seemed imbued with Buddy's presence. The toys scattered on the floor, the bed in the corner of the living room, and even the empty food bowl were painful reminders of his beloved dog. Jack sat on the couch, lost in thought, reflecting on the life they had together, and the real possibility that those moments might now only be memories. Sadness and despair consumed his heart. But then, something incredible happened. At the hospital, as they closely monitored Buddy, the vets noticed significant changes in his condition. Dr. Harrison, reviewing the most recent tests, saw something that had initially been overlooked, a crucial detail indicating that the original diagnosis might have been wrong. With this new information, they decided to try a different treatment, which quickly began to show promising results. That's when Jack's phone rang. He answered, feeling a chill down his spine, expecting the worst. On the other end of the line, Dr. Harrison's voice sounded excited and full of hope. "Jack, I have incredible news about Buddy," he said. "We discovered something that changed everything. Buddy is responding very well to the new treatment. I think you should come to the hospital as soon as possible." Jack could hardly believe what he was hearing. His heart raced, and without wasting any time, he rushed back to the hospital. When Jack arrived at the hospital, he was immediately led to the room where Buddy was. The atmosphere was completely different from that last distressing visit. The veterinary team was smiling, and there was an air of hope and relief. When Jack saw Buddy, he could hardly contain his emotion. Buddy, though still weak, lifted his head and wagged his tail, recognizing his owner and showing renewed strength. Jack knelt beside Buddy's bed, tears of joy streaming down his face. "You did it, boy. I knew you were strong," he said, stroking Buddy's head. The connection between them seemed stronger than ever, and Jack felt a wave of gratitude for having his friend back. Dr. Harrison explained in detail what had happened and how the new treatment was working, giving Jack a new perspective on Buddy's recovery. The reunion was emotional and full of promises for the future. Jack knew there was still a long way to go, but the fact that Buddy was there, fighting and showing signs of recovery, filled his heart with hope. He promised Buddy that they would do everything to ensure he fully recovered and that together, they would face any challenge that came their way. That moment in the hospital marked a new beginning for Jack and Buddy, a testament to the fact that love and hope can truly work miracles. Jack, emotional and full of gratitude, reflected on everything he had gone through in the past few days. He looked at Buddy, who was now standing, still weak but clearly improving. The experience taught him a valuable lesson about the importance of never losing hope, even in the darkest moments. He realized that love and determination could overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. With a light heart and a new perspective, Jack turned to Dr. Harrison and the entire veterinary team. He thanked them deeply for all their effort and dedication in caring for Buddy. "You didn't just save my dog's life, but you also brought joy back into my life," Jack said, shaking the vet's hands with gratitude. "I am eternally grateful to all of you." Finally, the moment Jack had been waiting for arrived, taking Buddy home. With the medical clearance given, Jack carefully placed Buddy in the car, ensuring he was comfortable. The drive home was filled with silence, but not a silence of sadness, rather one of peace and reflection. Jack knew that every moment from now on would be even more precious. When they arrived home, Jack opened the door and watched as Buddy slowly explored the familiar environment again. Each step Buddy took was a symbol of victory, and Jack promised himself that he would do everything to help Buddy fully recover. He committed to cherishing every moment together, valuing even more the presence of his loyal friend. Sitting on the couch with Buddy by his side, Jack thought about how unpredictable and full of surprises life could be. He recalled the moments of despair in the hospital and compared them with the joy of having Buddy back now. We can never underestimate the power of hope and love, he thought, stroking Buddy's head, who fell asleep peacefully by his side. Jack decided to share his story with the world, hoping to inspire others never to give up on those they love. He recorded a video thanking everyone who supported them and encouraging others to keep the faith during difficult times. If I learned anything from this experience, it's that love and hope can work miracles. Never give up on those you love, he said in the video with Buddy by his side. With life returning to normal, but now with a new depth and meaning, Jack and Buddy faced the future with courage and optimism. Every day was a new opportunity to celebrate life and the unbreakable friendship they shared. The story of Jack and Buddy became a powerful example of resilience, showing that even in the face of adversity, true love can triumph. Thank you for watching this incredible story of courage and loyalty. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like so you don't miss any of our exciting stories. See you next time.